Hello and welcome to another episode of the Metabolic Balance ANZ podcast. I'm Cherry Wills and I'm delighted to say that I'm talking today to a fabulous metabolic balance practitioner here in Australia. Danny is a nutritionist who works in Sanford in Queensland, online and in her clinic there. So a big welcome to you, Danny. How are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me. Very excited to talk about my favorite subject.
It's so cool to talk to you. So you've been a metabolic balance practitioner for a few years now, haven't you?
I have indeed, very happily.
Yeah, excellent. And we've talked to a couple of your clients even on the podcast, so it's really cool to have you on board now. So can you start off by sharing what drew you to bring metabolic balance into your practice?
Well, in the first few years, I was having, despite the fact that when I was at uni, the last thing I wanted to do was weight loss, I ended up having so many people come to me for weight loss. And for the first couple of years in practice, I was doing a lot of keto, or rather, my clients were, which I loved for very short term. I never loved keto for long term. There wasn't enough of a rainbow on a plate for me, which is one of my mantras, rainbows on plates. Um, and I'd heard about metabolic balance, and I really just wanted to talk to a real live person that had done metabolic balance. And I happened to
Ah.
go to a school reunion, and I was sitting at a table at lunch with two guys I went to school with. Actually, preceding that, I had seen one of my friends put up a post on Facebook thanking Zeta Dixon, my true nutritionist, for my health. And I wondered then, oh, what's he doing? And then I went to lunch and I was sitting there and I watched two men say, I'll have the steak. I won't have any fries, please. I'll have salad. Can you put the dressing on the side? What's just asking lots of questions. And I thought, wow, that's unusual. Um, and then I had a chat with them. They both explained that they were doing metabolic balance. Both of their wives were. One of the wives had lost an enormous amount of weight. And then, as it turned out, I stayed at that friend's place that evening. And the next morning, I got to look at his plan, and there were rainbows on plates. He told me how easy it was for him to follow. He was getting up, cutting his own red capsicum because he wasn't having green capsicum. And that was enough for me. The proof was in the pudding. I saw there were rainbows on plates, and and just seeing them at lunch doing what they were doing was enough. But definitely the rainbows. There's enough variety. All the food groups are there. And I think not too long after that, I contacted Zeta, and then I signed up because previous to that in my practice, as I said, I wasn't happy with not rainbows on plates. And I found if people weren't doing keto and I was just trying to help them, it was a lot of let's just see how this goes. Let's see how this goes. And that's really time consuming and it's deflating if they're not getting the results. Whereas with MB, metabolic balance, the results are immediate, which is it makes it easier for people to stay on their journey if they can see the proof in the pudding, so to speak. Probably a bad pun, not pudding.
So yeah, you touched on so many great points there. I sort of, rainbow on plates. I totally agree. It's having that real variety and the real vibrancy and color on a plate is is what is so important, isn't it?
It's important for health. I think it's important visually. I think it's just important, I don't know, for your taste buds to say, oh, look at all those things I can eat.
Yeah, yeah. And you've also touched on the whole time thing, because that's something that I often, it's so important getting results pretty quick for people because time is so precious. We never get our time back.
Don't. And it's if you're doing if you're practicing in a way that you go, okay, let's try this, let's take this out for a while, let's take this out for a while. That actually, well, time, which is, time is money, but also just they're more likely just to say, oh, this is just too hard basket, nothing's working. And that's defeating. Yeah, and it hurts my heart when people don't achieve their goals.
Yeah, I'm the same. When you have somebody that is ready to go, they've actually said, right, I have had enough of feeling the way I'm feeling or experiencing what I'm experiencing. You want to give them the results so that, they realize that their food plays a key role.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, what have you particularly noted that then in practice? So, you brought MB into your practice. What were the first sort of things that you noted with clients when you started them on MB?
Oh, all sorts of things like, oh my God, I've tried every eating regime in the world, diet, because I don't love that word. But I do love that on one of these other podcasts, the word diet is the food we eat. But in my mind, and I think in most people's mind, it implies that you're going to be missing out. So, um, yes, what was the question again?
It was really what have you started to what did you start to see when you started people on MB at the very beginning? Because obviously you talked to your friend, you've seen the results in this couple that and you saw that everything seemed, and you did the training and you saw that it all was like, okay, this has great potential. But at the same time, you're still bringing in a program into your business and your clients that you haven't really got the experience of seeing the results with. So, what were the first few things that you're like going, okay, I think there's something in this?
Oh, well, the one of my favorite turnarounds was my friend Anita, who I believe you have done for the
Anita
podcast.
came on the podcast. Yeah.
So Anita's been my friend from year one, and she had all sorts of things going on, and she just did the program, and Anita was back. It just changed her life dramatically,
Mhm.
from her health to not having siestas every day to being flexible to wearing all the beautiful clothes that she had in her wardrobe. Um, just just amazing. I'm constantly amazed. I'm still amazed after all of these years what happens. How it's food is medicine, which I totally subscribe to. Who would have thunk that Hippocrates was all over it way back then? But to be a nutritionist, that is what, that's my jam. Food is medicine. And I wasn't quite hitting that before I started Metabolic Balance. And I just know if you walk in my door and we do Metabolic Balance, that it is going to make massive changes generally quite quickly. I don't even have to think about it. One lady recently, this is a woman who has had endometriosis all of her life, has had sick days every period, has had all of those awful, awful symptoms that go with it. She had her period just the week before she started MB. She started MB, and 4 weeks later, she came in to see me and she said, guess what? I had my period on Monday. I didn't even know. It just came. I didn't have to have a day off work. And my husband was just gobsmacked. He just still can't believe it. And that brought tears to my eyes because that's amazing. From food.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that inflammation. I mean, if we talk about what, the driver, you think that has where that's come from, it's that how much inflammation is driven by the food we eat, or how much it is calmed down by eating the right foods for us.
Absolutely. But trying to explain that to everybody is sometimes difficult unless they know and love you. They just
Mm.
don't always take that on. They don't believe it, I guess, because they haven't experienced it. But yeah, I could talk till I'm blue in the face about it. It's not until they do it that they really realize, yeah, okay, she might have known something.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we just have to keep trying to get the message across, that what we're doing with metabolic balance is purely to getting the food right. We're not having any kind of miracle products or miracle cures going on here. It's coming really back to basics, really the fundamental vegetables, fruits, proteins, and then everything can get into balance potentially in the human body.
Yes, absolutely. Food as medicine.
Yeah. So you've had some really lovely stories from clients, and but also let's the real thing is there are challenges for clients too in implementing it.
Yeah.
Do you know, what would you say about the challenges that a client can face?
Well, particularly that friend of mine I was talking about earlier, his biggest challenge was not doing exercise for the first 2 weeks. I've Yeah, that's how, and I've just run a little online course where I've got 4 ladies, and two of those ladies are gym ladies every day, and one lady is a horsey lady, and it was like I cut off their arm that they couldn't do that for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but they have survived the 2 weeks, and they've got more energy. Well, one was more energy, less brain fog. They're going to be able to go back to the gym now and function better.
Well, I think we need to talk then about why we say there's no exercise, or I didn't say it's no exercise. It's very relaxed movement that we're doing in the first 2 weeks. So we don't want any of that gym high intensity exercise in the first 2 weeks. And how do you describe that for your clients?
Well, it's different ways, but generally you just need to relax, just need to chill for a bit. You need to wrap your head around your new eating regime, which takes a little bit of planning and a bit of organization. So instead of being up at the gym at 4:30 in the morning, because that's your quiet time and you like it, use that time to meal plan for the next couple of weeks. Use that time to look at recipes, one of my favorite pastimes, obviously not everybody else's. I talk about cortisol and, just giving that a little bit of a break. One of my ladies who I've got on this online program at the moment, she has come to me because she literally just spent a whole year with a PT every week. And over that 12 months, she lost 400 grams. So that's I don't know if it's once or twice a week, I can't recall, but that was the end of her after 12 months with the PT. So, for her, I was kind of like, okay, that didn't actually work. So maybe you just need to just walk
Yeah.
and exercise.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's about, to get different results, we do things differently, and we really want to calm everything down and not have the cortisol spiking. We want to allow the metabolism to actually really calm and not be suppressed by excess exercise, which is what can happen with high levels of exercise. And this lady that has had so minimal results after her year of high exercise, where is she at now?
She has had results already in the 2 weeks that we've been on, much more than the previous year. Wonderful results. We've got 10 centimeters off waists in 2 weeks. We've got 6 kilos down in one lady.
Oh, wow.
Yes. We've got little videos of, look at this dress. Last summer it was tight as, now it's loose. we've got work pants. My work pants aren't starting to fit. I've got one of my midwife. She's like, I'm going to have to get new scrubs.
Oh dear. Well, it's a nice problem to have, though, isn't it? When that
Absolutely,
kind of
yes.
when that happens, because that happens, yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess one of the other challenges, I think most people kind of re rehash the same meals kind of weekly. There's a pasta, there's a this, there's a that. So for those first 2 weeks, um, it's probably a little bit more time consuming than it had been beforehand, because they are potentially cooking a few, they might be cooking exactly the same, actually, just a little bit differently. There might be a few vegetables that they wouldn't always buy. So that is, I guess, not a little bit of a challenge for some people, especially the time poor people. I do find I get a lot of people that don't usually cook with legumes or eat so many legumes. So that is, sometimes there's a, oh my God face, what am I going to do with these? But because I do love to watch cooking shows and cook and eat and read recipes, I think that I'm pretty helpful with that. One of my other wonderful stories about in regard to that was another gym lady I had who was just living on, I don't know what they were called, frozen meals basically, but high protein ones. And she had never cooked a red lentil in her life. And I just gave her a recipe and told her how to do it. And she loved it. Her son loved it. And it's opening a whole new world to food in general. And that is part of the education, teaching people, how to cook lentils and why. And spice profiles, like people that don't use curry, spices, teaching them how to do a curry mix, if you like, which I love doing. So I actually cook for one of my clients who's on the NDIS and doing metabolic balance. So I cook for her and slice and dice and prep, which is fun.
That's awesome. I think you just, it is when somebody gets this food list that actually does say what would be ideal for them to eat. It's like it opens a new world to possibilities, that it's that difference between what we've always chosen to eat and what actually is be really beneficial to us. So sort of that preference nutrition to personalized nutrition, as I talk about. Um, I've had many people who have always said, "Oh no, I don't want to have any like goat's cheese or any kind of or any like legumes, pulses, sort of different meats that we always sometimes go, oh, or you don't even really notice in the supermarkets, or because you've always gone for the chicken or something."
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think I've only ever eaten kangaroo once when I was at Uluru at the Sound of Silence dinner. Anyway, one of my clients last week, because my online group, so we all the ladies get together once a week, and one of the ladies has said, "How good are kangaroo sizzle steaks?" And nobody had had one, and then the other lady, the next week, she's like, oh my God, how good are kangaroo sizzle steaks? They're so quick. I love them. And they, I'm sure, would never have eaten a kangaroo sizzle steak. But I'm interested now in a kangaroo sizzle steak myself after they've mentioned how good and quick they are. Because that's the other thing, when we're talking about time poor, um, that's always kind of fascinated me, that people don't have time to cook. But it does take, what, 10 minutes, 12 minutes to cook a piece of steak. You've got all those, if you're not into slicing and dicing, you have all those bagged salads now. I just tell people to throw out the sauce because that's usually the rubbish part. So if you've got, you can have a meal up in 15, 20 minutes max with lots of the food on the plan. So it's it's really not an excuse.
Well, do you, I mean, like you just sort of made me think here a little bit because when we're time poor, because to be honest, we have got a busy world. We could all say we're time poor, but part of the problem when we're thinking about what we're cooking, it's that kind of undetermined amount of time to make a decision and think about what we should eat, could eat, will eat, might eat. That bit is the time consuming bit. The actual getting down and cooking, that's really, like you say, 5, 10 minutes. But when we give people a plan like we do with metabolic balance, we take away that need to, well, what could I eat? What should I eat? What am I going to do? And so that's why I think MB is so incredible for time poor people, because we just say, this is what you do. Okay, great, I do it. I don't have to waste any time.
That's right. And when I presented a plan to a lady yesterday, and I laminate the shopping list for her to put on the fridge, and that's literally what she said. Oh, okay. I just look at this and just buy from here. Yeah, easy. Simples. Yeah.
I think sometimes people can shy away from something like working with metabolic balance if they are time poor. Oh no, I haven't got time to think about that. But actually, when you really think about it, it gives you back so much because you also get back all of the time of when you might be lying on the couch feeling exhausted or with the gut pains or the headaches. All of that is incredibly time consuming to have to recover from. And like you said with your lady with the endometriosis, losing a couple of days every month because you literally, you can't leave your bed from pain, which is, endometriosis is such a terrible condition. And and you get that time back.
Yes, you do. I mean, it's like anything that's new. It's always going to take a little bit longer in the first couple of weeks. You'll a new job,
It's a learning
learning
period.
something, and then
Mm.
then it becomes second nature, and then you don't actually think about it. So it's you've got more time. Yeah,
What would you like to say if somebody is saying, thinking of starting metabolic balance? What would you say to them?
just do it. Like like the slogan, who is it? Nike or Adidas or something? Just do it. What would I say? I would say, well, I love the guideline number 9. Just trust the program. Um, it depends who you're talking to, but what I do say is that we can't guarantee anything. If I could go home with you and watch you drink your water, eat your food, then I guarantee you will have results very soon. But I can't go home with you. So all I can do is tell you that to trust the program. I'm as honest as the day is long. It's not a sales marketing ploy. It works. It's awesome. It'll change your life. Simple.
Yeah. And it's a single learning period, really, isn't it, as well? That's the other thing.
Well, that is the other thing, the learning, the educating. This client I had yesterday, obviously I saw her 2 weeks ago and I presented the plan. And since then, she said, well, I've been drinking more water and I've been having an apple and I've been trying to have protein and I had these lovely dumplings the other night and my face is quite expressive and it must have said what and she said but it's chicken and I said well yeah it is chicken and you said protein. I said yes it is protein but did you flip it over and did you look at the ingredients? Did you see what else is in there? Because they 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 taste good, I agree, but it is
How
not.
do they make you feel?
Yeah. So that conversation, she basically said, well, I'm going to learn, aren't I, what I should and what's good for me. And, there is your list. That is what you will learn from. And the proof, you'll know in the next 2 weeks how it's working for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's exciting, isn't it? When you can just say, let's just see how your body responds to real food. That's all it is. It's just real food. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great. Well, it's so wonderful to have you on board as a practitioner for Metabolic Balance. I've loved supporting you and helping you, support your clients too. So, and I look forward to many years ahead of us
Thank you.
working together as well.
I love it
And
too.
yeah,
Taking all the guesswork out. It's just do this and you will succeed.
yeah. Yeah, just it allows us as practitioners to really do what we have a passion for, which is just guiding people to eat well. That's
Yes,
what I think.
absolutely. I'm hugely passionate about that and food in general. I just love food.
Yes. We all love food. It's amazing stuff, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah. Wonderful.
I do have one other really good story. I had my first type 1 diabetes client,
Okay.
and I was a little bit nervous because she was my first type 1 diabetes client, but she was amazing. She was my gym lady who was having the frozen meals, who I taught about red lentils. But she managed to cut her insulin in half, which is pretty amazing. And the other super awesome thing for her is that she was having to have every 8 weeks injections in her eyes to reduce, to pull out fluid. Something, yeah. Anyway, it was every 2 weeks. 2 months and 8 weeks. And her last visit to the ophthalmologist, he said, "What are you doing? What's going on? Because your eyes are so much better." So now that's been dragged out to every 3 months. And if she continues, it might go further, which is fascinating because I can't even imagine having that injection in your eye. So to have less over a year just by eating the food that works best for you is sensational.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. It gives me goosebumps when I hear that kind of thing. And yeah, thank you. That's such a great testimony to just good food for the human body. That's all it is. Calming down that inflammation, getting everything in balance. And hey, it's incredible what can happen.
And I
Yeah.
love when I get a
Yeah.
new plan. It's like a lucky dip every time. Oh, what have you got?
What have you got?
Oh,
I
you've
know.
got my online ladies. Somebody mentioned that they had cottage cheese, and the other lady's like, "What? Can't we swap? I haven't got that. I've got that. You've got mozzarella cheese. What?"
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's about. It's plan envy is a real thing, but it's that is what personalized food's about, though. It's finding what somebody personally needs to eat. Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Danny. It's been wonderful to talk to you, and we'll catch up again soon.
Awesome. Cheers. Bye.